This is Geometry A, Unit 4, Lesson 1. Unit 4 is on parallel and perpendicular lines, and Lesson 1 is on lines and angles. And we're going to look at a couple of concepts here. This is a vocabulary-heavy lesson, so have your vocabulary notebook ready. Write down these words. Pause if you need to. Write down the definitions. They're important to have. All right, so there are three possibilities for lines and relationships between lines. Possibilities, right? Lines can intersect. Okay? That is, they can cross and have a common point but shared between them. Okay? We've learned about these when lines cross. We have some things called a linear pair and vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent, right? Linear pairs add to 180, are supplementary, but they intersect. The idea is they intersect. They have this common point shared between them. Okay? Another possibility is something called skew lines. Skew lines are not parallel. We're going to get to parallel here. Skew lines are not parallel, but they don't intersect. Okay? So, for example, we might have one line that exists here, and it's difficult to draw on a plane. It's something that exists in 3 dimensions. But a line can pass beneath or over the top of another line. Right? The way we represent it in 2 dimensions is something like this, where we kind of picture, if you will, a freeway overpass or a tunnel, right? Where one line goes underneath another. A freeway overpass is a great way to explain it. Now, the way they demonstrate this in your lesson and on quizzes and tests is they draw what's called a wireframe. Okay? A wireframe. So they draw some 3D shape, right? And typically the hidden lines will be dotted. And we have vertices, A, B, C, D, E, and F. And then G back here. Okay? If we want skew lines, a good example of a skew line is line AF and line DE. DE is vertical, AF is horizontal, but D and E will not intersect AF because DE is behind AF. So you have to have 3 dimensions. You have to be working in 3 dimensions to talk about skew lines. Okay, but that's skew. They don't intersect, but they're also not parallel. And the third possibility is something called parallel lines. Okay, definition is lines in a plane. So they have to be on the same plane, in the same flat surface. Lines in a plane that don't intersect. That don't intersect. That's the definition. So if I draw 2 lines in a plane and they don't cross each other, they are said to be parallel. Now remember, lines are infinite. They go infinitely in both directions. So if they go infinitely in both directions, they have to be going the exact same direction, because if you can imagine, if the steepness of one line was a little bit off, eventually, in one direction or another, they would eventually cross, right? If I go way out here or way out there, they would eventually cross. The way we intuitively think about it is like railroad tracks. 2 lines that stay the same distance apart no matter where you look at them. They're always the same distance. Always the same distance apart. Okay? Okay? So examples of parallel lines from our wireframe above would be, let me get this in blue here, AF and B, and I forgot to label this, BH. BH and AF are parallel. They're in the same plane and they go the same direction. Or, and this is not as obvious, but what about CD? If you can imagine the plane cut by the diagonals here, right? That the CD and AF are in the same plane, same flat surface, and they are going the same direction. They will never cross. They are parallel. Okay? So those are the three possibilities. So let me get on to the rest of the vocabulary here. The rest of the vocabulary has to do with something called a I'm forgetting the word here. Not transitive. Actually, yes, transitive. Okay? A transitive. That is a line that crosses two other lines. All right? So here we go. Let's go. We have two lines, and it's not given whether they are parallel or skew or anything like that. Although actually they can't be skew because they are in the same plane. But we have two lines crossed in a plane, two lines in a plane crossed by a transitive line, right? A line that transitions or crosses the two lines, L and M. Okay? L and M are crossed by the transitive T. And you'll notice there are in fact 8 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there are a number of vocabulary words that talk about the relationships between these angles. The first word is corresponding. Corresponding angles are angles that share the same orientation on both intersections. Okay? So corresponding angles on the top left of this intersection and on the top left of this intersection are 1 and 5. 1 and 5 are corresponding angles. Okay? 2 and 6 are top right, so they are corresponding. Okay? And 3 and 7 are on the bottom left, so 3 and 7 are corresponding. And 4 and 8 are on the bottom right, so 4 and 8 are corresponding. So that's corresponding angles. Okay? We can also talk about angles that have another relationship called alternate angles. Alternate are on opposite sides of the transitive line here. So 4 and 5 are alternate angles, and they are specifically alternate interior. Alternate on opposite sides of the transitive. Alternate interior. So angle 3 and 6 are alternate interior because they're on opposite sides of the transitive line. Okay? And they are inside or between the crossed lines. They are interior. 4 and 5 are alternate interior angles. 4 and 5. We also have alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior. Alternate exterior angles are on opposite sides of the transitive line. So 1 and 8 are alternate, and they're exterior because they're outside the two lines that are crossed. So 1 and 8. Or 2 and 7, alternate exterior angles. Okay? And then we have same side angles. Same side, interior. Same side interior are on the same side, like 3 and 5, they're both on the left, but they're interior, they're between the crossed lines. So 3 and 5 are same side interior, as well as 4 and 6, same side on the right side, interior, 4 and 6. Okay? And then finally there's same side exterior. Same side exterior. Same side exterior are on the same side of the transversal. Okay? Transversal, that's what I was looking for. 1 and 7 are same side exterior. 1 and 7. And 2 and 8. 2 and 8 are same side exterior angles. Okay? So we have all these words, corresponding angles, alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, same side exterior, when we have two lines crossed by a transversal line. Okay? And so that's hopefully will help. Let me know if you need any further help.